So I'd like to call this meeting of our regular council together for November 16th, 2021. We can please stay seated for a moment of silent reflection and keeping in our thoughts as well former Mayor Algona Wilberforce, who passed away. Thank you. So we'll move to the mayor's address. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. On November 10th, 2021, the province announced that they are pausing on their plan to safely reopen safely reopening and managing COVID-19 for the long term. This is being done out of an abundance of caution as the province monitors public health trends. On November 11th, 2021, I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony at the Eagle Legion. The outdoor ceremony was well attended. On November 19th, 2021, the Renfrew County Community Futures Development Corporation is hosting a free virtual workshop on food waste reduction for households and individuals from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Attached to this information is correspondence from Renfrew County regarding County Road 30 or Lake Dory Road. I wish to thank staff for submitting a delegation request with the Minister of Transportation to address the intersection of Golden Lake at the Roma Conference in January. County of Renfrew delegation with the Warden, CAO, Finance and Property and Development has been rescheduled to January the 4th, 2021. Council members are encouraged to bring forward any questions you may have regarding county responsibilities to this meeting. Tree lighting celebration in Golden Lake is scheduled for November 27th, 2021. And I just want to say I'm very pleased to announce that Debbie Robinson has been acclaimed for a third term as Warden of the County of Renfrew. Thank you. That is my mayor's address. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, then we will move to the adoption of the minutes for November 2nd, 2021. I have a motion that council accepts the November. Yes.
Sorry, we're adopting the mayor's address.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a motion that council accepts the November 16th, 2021 mayor's address as presented. Can I get a mover in a second? Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Reckichon. Councillor, are there any additions, corrections, or omissions? No, that would be in the mayor's address. So Councillor Burr?
Yes.
Councillor Buckbold?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reckichon?
Yes.
And a yes, that's carried. Thank you. My apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I have a motion that council accepts the November 2nd, 2021 regular council meetings as presented. Can I get a mover in a second? Moved by Councillor Reckichon, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Are there any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, Councillor Burns?
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reckichon?
Yes.
And a yes. Very good. So we'll move on to reports. I have a motion regarding the tree program that the council accepts the report as presented on a tree planting program and authorizes up to $1,500 be given free budget approval for purchasing up to 500 trees And further direct staff to explore grant and sponsorship opportunities to reduce the purchase price of the trees. Can I get a mover and a second? Moved by Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Burns. Comments or questions? Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld.
I think this is a great report, and I really like the idea because it does follow our strategic plan with environmental stewardship. So that's great. I'm just wondering if we should start smaller though, with just 300 trees. And then maybe we can increase it as time goes on. I just find sometimes the communication is not getting out there, and I really want to be left with more trees.
Yes, Andrew.
Through the mayor, as council read the Lanark County press release, they started out at $3 a tree, went down to 15 cents by the time we got sponsorship. So possibly, if council authorized the financial commitment for the program based on 300 trees and kept with the statement up to 500 trees, then that allows, you know, you're not going to spend any more, but plan is to get the price down.
Okay.
Any other comments? I would just like to add, I think it would be, if council would be in agreement, worthwhile sending a letter to the county. And seeing if they would be willing to participate, just the same way that Lanark County has led the tree program in their area. And maybe this way, there would be other municipalities that would be interested in participating. Yes.
So going back to Councilor Schoenfeld, if you reduce the amount, is that something council desire to reduce that amount to the they just go down to 1,200 as opposed to 1,500? Would be a friendly amendment that doesn't change the motion. And the hope is that we get down to 0.
Okay, so we've changed the amount to 1,200. So then we'll call the vote on the motion as amended. Councilor Burns.
Yes.
Councilor Buckle.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld.
Yes.
And yes as well. That's very good. Item 7.2 is the strategic plan review update. I have a motion that staff solicit quotations from 2 other firms and the review to be completed by the end of the year. And I got a word in a second. Moved by Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld.
Could you just put the report up, because when I downloaded my PDF, I didn't get that. Thank you.
Yes, Andrew.
So just through the mayor, if I could just say a couple of things on the report and why recommendation. A couple of quotes. One reason is that TGT would not be able to finish until late January. And the mayor had asked for a review before the end of the year. Or actually, I think he asked for it sooner. But the other component is that the price is different than what was originally estimated by TGT when we did the strategic plan. So we're suggesting to get a couple of quotes.
I'm actually quite surprised that they're almost 3 times what they originally quoted. Can you just scroll down a little bit? Thank you. That's a very short one.
I guess we'll wait to see what the other quotes say. It does seem a lot of money to give us a report card, whether we're doing well or not. Some of it makes me feel like I'd rather take $7,000 or $1,000 and stick it into something we're actually working on, like whether it's environment or whether it's some other strategic part of the plan. Like, I mean, having a yearly review of it maybe is too much. Maybe it has to be every 2 years, which I realize would be the following year, but it does seem like very expensive to tell us how we're doing. And I think we should be able to tell ourselves how we're doing. I mean, I have no problem with trying to get another quote and then maybe we'll come back to the decision whether we accept it or not, but it does seem very high for someone to tell us whether we're working or not.
I like the idea of getting other quotes, so we would be able to bring this back because the motion does read that staff solicit quotes from 2 other firms. Any other comments from council? Seeing none, council Burns.
I just think this board is really high compared to what the first one we had. And getting other quotes would be good.
Oh, I'm calling the vote then, council Burns,
Yes.
council Buckle,
Yes.
council Robinson,
Yes.
council Rector.
Yes,
And yes, that's carried. Thank you. So item 7.3 is the consent application B94/21, and it's for through. I have a motion that council accepts the report as information. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by councilor Brown, seconded by councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Rector.
and maybe this is a general statement, but when I read the report, the consent application report, it said retained lands are to be used as a bush lot and no new development is proposed. So if we did approve this, how do we make sure then nothing else happens on that lot? As opposed that it just stays as a lot and not a bush lot and there's no further development. Is there something that happens?
There's in the county of Renfrew special plan, there's no provision that it does remain as a bush lot. As long as it meets the requirements of the zoning bylaw and the county of Renfrew official plan, there could be development. It's just at this time, there's no development proposed.
Yes.
So if we do approve it, then we're not liable or anything like that? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'll call the vote. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
councilor Buckle,
Yes.
councilor Robinson,
Yes.
councilor Rector.
Yes,
Yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 7.4 is a thank you letter to Minister McLeod and MPP John Yakubowski. I have a motion that council accepts the report as information. Can I get a mover in a second? Moved by councilor Rector Schoenfeld, seconded by councilor Buckle. Comments or questions? I just have a comment I want to add because tonight I attended a Ontario Winter Games 100-day kickoff. So there's 100 days now before the games officially open. And Minister McLeod was at the kickoff. So I think it's still important to send a thank you letter, but I personally thanked her for attending 2 of our businesses in North Algona Wilberforce. Minister McLeod also made an announcement at the kickoff that the Ontario government is committing another $400,000 for the Ontario Winter Games. And that's due in part because of increased costs with COVID for transportation, for health and safety as far as putting together a medical team to deal with testing, et cetera. And that was very, very good news, and certainly was a pleasure meeting her and thanking her in person. So I'll call the vote. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld.
Yes,
Yes, it's carried. Thank you. Item 7.5 is a recreation committee. I have a motion that council accepts the recreation committee report as information. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Comments? Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld.
I'm just wondering if the start time, well, 3 questions. If the start time's a little early. Number 2, just before COVID hit, we did have two new recreation committee members. So I was just wondering if they were going to be invited. And number 3, seeing how we're resurrecting the recreation committee, I'm just wondering if all the other committees might be resurrected at some point in time in the near future.
Yes, Andrew.
So if I speak on all 3 there. The reason the timing was we were trying to have it before the council meeting, because what we were trying to do is set up a meeting that we knew the council would be here for. And that's why we had it on that day and that time. We're expecting the meeting may not be that long, but so we could delay it like a half hour or something like that. We still need to be prepared for the council meeting. So we could adjust the time, and without doing an amendment, we can do that just based on conversations with members of the rec committee. As far as the other members, we make sure that they be contacted before. And on behalf of the mayor, for the last comment, the mayor will be appointing committee members for all committees in December. And I would suggest that will be coming to council in either early December or the December 21st meeting. So the clerk will make sure the mayor's prepped to be prepared to do that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld,
Yes,
and a yes. Carried. Thank you. Item 7.6 are the budget priorities for 2022. I have a motion that council accepts the report as information for 2022 budget discussions. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments? Questions? Yes.
And just to make it easier for council, these are your submissions, so the report is just basically for information. You already made your submissions. If council has any other additions, they can forward them to the clerk, but it's just more of information that this is what you sent.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councilor Burke?
I got complaints, in the last one, just before I went away and when I got back home. Spurrick Road, when it's this time of year, when it freezes and falls, it's really greasy. They say should have better gravel on it, and the same way up around here on the corner on Charlotte Woods. They say this time of year, when it freezes and falls, it's really greasy up there around the corner. I don't drive it really that much.
Did you want to submit that as a?
I can give it to Michelle.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll call the vote. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld,
yes,
and yes, that's carried. Thank you. So then we get to correspondence, item 9.1, or the non-action items. I have a motion that correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.2 be accepted as information. And I'm gonna move in a second, moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckler,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky.
Yes,
Yes, it's carried. Item 9.2.1 is the Algonquins of Pequotnagon and their first annual day of healing. I have a motion that the municipality of North Algona Wilberforce has proclaimed November 14th to November 20th, 21 as victims and survivors of Crime Week in the municipality of North Algona Wilberforce. And that during the victims and survivors of crime week and throughout the year, North Algona Wilberforce will recognize victims and survivors of crime and those who assist them. And be it further that North Algona Wilberforce will remain committed to addressing and advancing the issues faced by victims and survivors of crime. And then over the second, moved by Councilor Buckle, seconded by Councilor Burnt. Comments or questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burnt,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schenfeld.
yes,
Yes, that's great, thank you. Item 9.2.2 is the Festival of Trees. I have a motion that council support the Renfrew County Child Poverty Action Network Festival of Trees fundraiser by sponsoring a Christmas wreath in the amount of $200. And I'm going to move in the seconder. Moved by Councilor Burnt, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Comments or questions? Seeing none, Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schenfeld.
yes,
Yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2.3 is the QP Omer's third-party review. We have a motion that council supports QP in their call for an independent expert review of owners. And then we're in the second one. Moved by Councilor Buckwald, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Ricky.
are we just supporting them with the resolution that they provided us? Is that how we're supporting them?
I believe that's it, that we just support their request for an independent review
Thank you.
of their performance. Seeing no other comments or questions, Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Ricky Schultz,
Yes,
and yes, carried, thank you. Item 9.2.4 is a resident road concern. I have a motion that the Jessup Road be considered in the 2022 budget deliberations. Maybe I move in a second, moved by Councilor Ricky Schoenfeld, seconded by Councilor Burnt. Comments or questions? The only question I would have is this on our asset management plan for rehabilitation?
Not in the near future, but we'll put it on with the list, and bring it forward.
Thank you. When, I guess, follow up to that, when was it scheduled for research?
I don't have that information.
Okay. Councilor Burnt. Oh, sorry. Councilor Buckwell.
It's okay if you're, we should probably send a response back saying that we received this and. So
Okay. That's just direction to staff.
And just, if I may add something, because when letters come to council and directly to council, if there's a lag in time as to when they get to council or when we bring them to council, it is, staff would like to move forward with responding to these letters immediately. So, that we bring forward this to council, so that the residents know that we're actually doing something, and we will put these letters right into our service tracker, which council gets reported. If that's okay with council.
I'm wondering, would it be helpful if, in response to the resident, you indicated that we now have a service tracker software?
And that maybe then.
And that in the future, if they have an issue, just to contact the staff. Thank you. Council Burke.
Just another question, if I get somebody complaining about a road like Sturbridge Road, they're complaining about, I should have them call the township.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it can be,
Then it's dealt with right away.
and then it be tracked them too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll call the vote. Council Burke.
Yes,
Council Buckwell.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
yes,
Council Rickenfeldt.
Yes,
Yes, it's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2.5 is correspondence regarding Victoria Road. I have a motion that the Council of North Algona Wilberforce requests a speed reduction on Victoria Road from Highway 41 to the corner just beyond Schumann Road. And that the CAO attend a meeting with Lee Perkins, Director of Public Works and Engineering for the County of Renfrew before year end to review plans for the rescheduled rehabilitation of Victoria Road. I'm going to move in a second, moved by Councilor Rachel, second by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Rachel.
I'm wondering, just where Shireman Road is, that there's a flat stretch there, and lots of times people are passing back and forth, just as a suggestion, Roots' Lane, just up the road, might be a better place to say it's like from Highway 41 to Roots' Lane as opposed to Shireman Road. And then
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm wondering, when you're talking to the staff about the rehabilitation of the road, and maybe not, but I mean, all the active transport that we've been talking about, and it does fit into one of our strategic plans, and I know it's not our road, but what if they were to make the paved area like what we did on Let's? Just, I mean, because there are a number of people biking there, a little more than anything.
Yes, Andrew.
So I would suggest that before the next meeting, the Councilor Rickenfeldt brings forward a notice of motion. The notice of motion could be that the township recommends to the all county construction should take active transportation into consideration and include bike lanes. That would be broader than the
Or heart and shoulders, if they call them. Council Burke.
the county said they're going to be doing Victoria Road over from Highway 60 Lover's Lane.
Yes.
Talking about parking spaces. Just behind the service station down there on the right hand side of the bottom of the hill. The township owns a piece of property down there. And maybe we should open that up to clean that up and make parking spaces down there, because that corner is really busy in summertime. And the old garage that is for sale there, people are parking there, but if somebody new buys that house and that old garage there, they might not have people park there. So we own a piece of land just below that on the right hand side, shouldn't maybe clean up the parking.
So I would suggest that's good information, and the mayor in his address stated that we would be requesting a conversation with Minister Mulroney on that whole corner, that whole thing, and I think that can be part of the discussion that we have available to help out with that too. It's a bigger picture there, so you could take that into consideration.
Yes, and talking about the delegation, I did get confirmation from the warden that she would be willing to be part of that delegation as well, so the county would be adding a voice. But we would, you'll be planning that meeting with Mr. Perkins to
That's what it says right there. Yes,
discuss
sir.
those items. Any other comments? Seeing none, Councilor Burnt,
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Rickenfeldt.
Yes,
I mean, yes, carried, thank you. Then we get to number 10, bylaws. I have a motion. Now therefore, the county of North Algona, the council, sorry, of North Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaws. Bylaw 2021-66 shoreline for Fulton. Bylaw 2021-67, agreement for Fulton. Bylaw 2021-68, excuse me, shoreline for Walker. Bylaw 2021-69, agreement for Walker. Bylaw 2021-70, shoreline for Hall. Bylaw 2021-71, agreement for Hall. Bylaw 2021-72, shoreline for Morrow. Bylaw 2021-73, agreement for Morrow. Bylaw 2021-74, execution of agreement for TSD Citywide Inc. And bylaw 2021-75, execution of agreement for TGT Solutions Inc. And I get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Burns. Councilor Burns.
That one, the that very last one, the TGG, should we have that one in there because we're looking for the votes?
Yes.
Just for Council Burns information, that's for the asset management, that's a different thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'll call a vote. Councilor Burns.
Yes.
Councilor Buckwell.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Reddish-Longfellow.
Yes,
And a yes. Karen, thank you. So we have no matters of urgency, no notice of motion. Upcoming meetings and unfinished business. So I have a motion on the COVID-19 vaccination policy. And that being that council accepts Dr. Cushman's YouTube video as information. And I'm just wondering if council would be, can I get a mover and a seconder first? Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Burns. I would just like council to agree to watch the video. I believe it's about 5 minutes long.
Would you believe a few simple changes that you've done will drastically reduce your joint arthritis?
Hi, Dr. Rob Cushman, the acting medical officer of health for the Renfrew County and District Health Unit. And today I have a very important message about continuing to have as many people who are eligible vaccinated as possible. Now, I want to start off by congratulating everybody. We are now standing at 89% of folks who are eligible who've had a first vaccine, roughly 85 who've had a second, and that'll be catching up in the next few weeks. So we're looking at 1 out of 9 people who haven't been vaccinated. And it's a very important that we get vaccinated. And that's what I want to stress today. And what's even more interesting, it's about 1 in 3 between the age group of 18 and 40. And this is particularly bothersome, because this allows the virus to take hold in our community. When you combine the eligible people who, with the children who are not eligible, there are some 25,000 people in Renfrew County who are not vaccinated. It's roughly a 50-50 split. And this is more than enough room, more than enough people for the virus to take hold. And we're seeing it. In fact, we're seeing it now as we move into winter. Ontario's having trouble. Their numbers are like ours. We're having more trouble in Renfrew County. So it's very important that people get vaccinated. And pretty soon we think we'll have approval for the elementary school kids, and that'll again will help us. But today I want to concentrate on those who are eligible, that's people over the age of 11, who are not vaccinated, and in particular those between the age of 18 and 40. Now, let's just look at this. This has become a pandemic of being vaccinated. It's very clear. And in Renfrew County, for that matter, it looks about, if you're vaccinated, you have about a 1 in 30 or 1 in 25 chance of getting infected compared to those who don't. So, as I said before, there's enough out there Across Canada, there's 3.5 million people who haven't been vaccinated, and even in Renfrew County, there's ample opportunity for the virus and the variants that we're seeing now. Delta, of course, we've been seeing it for probably 6 months, but hopefully not other variants that are even worse. And as we move into winter, it's so important that we get vaccinated. So why are you resistant to getting vaccinated? I'm speaking to the 1 in 10 people in our community who are eligible. First of all, what about the safety of this vaccine? And what about its effectiveness? Well, let's look at safety first. This vaccine was approved, the various vaccines were approved roughly a year ago, and there have been billions of doses worldwide. Billions. This is one of the safest vaccines ever, in fact. It's a strong vaccine, but it's very safe. And for that matter, it's much safer than the disease. We talk about pregnancy. We try imagining COVID during pregnancy. Much, much worse. So what are we seeing with this vaccine? We're seeing about 1 in 1,000 people have a flu-like illness or a sore, and about 1 in 10,000 people have what we call a significant side effect, a serious side effect. We've seen the heart side effects, and we've seen the odd other one, which we've seen with other vaccines historically. But most of these issues go away quite quickly. And this is only 1 in 10,000. If you look at all the people who are eligible, some 12,000 in Renfrew County, we're probably mean 1 to 2 people who have a serious reaction. And in fact, most of those clear up over time. And when you flip the coin, consider what happens when you have the disease. For example, the heart problems, if you have COVID, are 10-fold what they are for the vaccine, probably 20-fold, and they can kill you. What about long-term effects? Well, okay, we've had these vaccines now for almost a year. We haven't seen any long-term effects. People say, oh, we don't know, it's only 3 months, but we're monitoring effects. Well, no vaccine, in fact, all the ones we've studied has had long-term effects. And what we've seen so far is this one doesn't either. mRNA decomposes very quickly. It's a messenger that delivers the antigen so we can make antibodies, and that's it. People say, oh, well, this is a new vaccine. We can't really trust it. Well, in fact, this technology has been waiting for years now. And in fact, they were making a flu vaccine when COVID came along. We could have had a new flu vaccine this year, and people wouldn't have complained about that. But because we turned all our energies to COVID, some people think that this happened too quickly. And also, we've seen some side effects from these vaccines. These are some strong vaccines, as I mentioned. But look what we're doing now. We're giving 1/3 of the dose when it's approved, if and when it's approved, to children under the age of 11. The Pfizer, the Moderna for people under 7 is now going to be half dose. And they're very quickly moving away from AstraZeneca. All to say that the safety of these vaccines has been under much more scrutiny worldwide and from the public than any vaccine. And these are safe vaccines. Now, what about the actual effectiveness of this vaccine? Well, we now know in Ontario that if you're not vaccinated, you have 5 times the possibility of getting COVID, and 11 times the possibility of going to the hospital, and 25 to 26 times the possibility of ending up in the ICU. And talk about being concerned about a vaccine. Imagine being in the ICU on a ventilator where each and every breath is out of your control. When I when I used to work in these settings with the family, they couldn't imagine what this was like. They couldn't imagine. And this is not what we want. In fact, in the past 4 months in Alberta, there have been 126 people in their 30s in the ICU. Only 4 of them were vaccinated. So this is a big problem. And it's very clear that the vaccine is effective and can protect. There is some breakthrough for sure. This isn't a magic bullet. It's not 100% effective. But why is we having so much breakthrough? Why are we having a breakthrough at all? Well, it's because we have a large group of people who are vaccinated. And in fact, the vaccinated people protect the unvaccinated. Whereas the unvaccinated people are jeopardizing those who are vaccinated. So in conclusion, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. 3.5 million Canadians Canadians who yet to get vaccinated that are eligible. That number again are the children who are yet to become eligible. And as I said, in Redford County, it's about 25,000, 50-50 split. And really, this is a civic duty. We want to get back to normal. We want to survive winter. It's up to each and every one of us to get vaccinated. Very small risk, very small inconvenience compared to the disease and compared to other health problems. And really, you owe it to yourselves, protect yourselves, your family, your loved ones, your workplace, your social activities, your children, schools, and healthcare systems. And we want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. So this is the civic duty. Canada has not faced a situation like this since World War II, and it's really up to each and every one of us to do what needs to be done to help us get through this. So in conclusion, this is priority number one. Please, please get vaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? So I'll call the vote. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Riker,
Yes,
and yes, there is. So we're at item 15, which is our closed session. I have a motion that council go into closed session pursuant to section 239(2)(e) and I of the Municipal Act for litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or the local board. One, information supplied in confidence by a third party. And that will be at 7:48 p.m. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councilor Riker, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Riker,
yes.
and yes, so we're now in closed. Motion that council comes out of closed session at 8:32 p.m. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councilor Riker, seconded by Councilor Burns. Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Riker,
Yes,
and yes, thank you, closed. You need some time, Laura, to let people back in?
There's nobody waiting, I'm just going to.
Okay. So item 16.1, I have a motion that council signs the memorandum of understanding with amendments as discussed. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Councilor Burns. No. Councilor Buckle.
No.
Councilor Robinson.
No.
Councilor Riker,
no,
and a no, so that's defeated. Item 16.2. I have a motion that staff take action as directed by council in regards to the recommendations of the communications committee. Can I have a great seconder? Moved by Councilor Riker, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Councilor Burns. Yes. Councilor Buckle.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Riker,
yes.
yes, carried. Thank you. And 17 is our confirmatory bylaw. I have a motion that bylaw 2021-76 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for November 16th, 2021. You read a first and second time the 16th day of November 2021. Read a third time and finally passed the 16th day of November 2021. Can I get over the second? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Councilor Burns. Yes. Councilor Buckle.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Riker,
Yes,
yes, carried. Have a motion that this regular meeting of council adjourns at 8:34 p.m. Moved and seconded, moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Schoenfeld. Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Buckland,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilor Reddy Schoenfeld,
Yes.
and yes, that's carried. Thank you. That's it. We're adjourned.